Hello, my name is Adrian, and I'm going to talk you through my understanding of the narrative and the mise en scène in The Fall. Now make sure that you have seen the film first because I will be spoiling quite a lot of the film. Tarsem Singh made this film using his own money so that he could have total control over the story without interference from any studios. He flew his cast and crew to about 20 different countries, with these incredible locations serving as the main special effects in The Fall. And so The Fall is therefore a very personal vision, and for that reason I think it needs to be watched very carefully. The opening credits of The Fall are a little confusing at first, and they don't really make sense to us until later in the film. There are images of a river and a train on a bridge and a dead horse being lifted out of the water, and there is also a close-up of a heart on a necklace. This sequence is in black and white because, although we don't know it yet, The Fall is the story of a stuntman who was working in the silent film era in Hollywood. As we later learn, Roy was very badly injured jumping off the bridge onto a horse, and he can no longer use his legs. This sequence shows us the aftermath of this incident without explaining it, so that when Roy tells his story later, we as the audience are able to flash back to this incident. We don't actually get to see the fall itself until the very end of the film, when Roy sits with other patients to watch the finished movie. The narrative structure of The Fall is really interesting. It's linear, which means that we start at the beginning and go right through to the end, even though, as I just said, at the end we get to see what happened just before the film credits started. The film is primarily Roy's story, but it is also Alexandria's story. She is a young immigrant girl who has also been injured in a fall, and when Roy meets her, he not only sees someone who might be able to help him, but also someone with whom he has much in common. Roy wants to take his own life, but to do that he has to manipulate Alexandria into thinking she's helping him without knowing the full truth. He tells her a story, and this is where the two parallel narratives begin. The Fall follows two separate narratives. Unusually, although Roy is narrating the story, we in the audience are seeing it from Alexandria's point of view. These images are how she is seeing Roy's story. This is why everything is so colourful, and the fantasy world being constructed features people and images from the hospital. The difference between the two is particularly noticeable through the visual design of these two narratives. We get our first clue that the world we are seeing is hers when she imagines a horse being ridden through ancient ruins after she first meets Roy. The real-world setting is very muted in its colour scheme. Almost everything in this hospital is yellow or green, including the walls themselves. The light itself is yellow, making skin tones yellow. This creates the idea for the audience that this place is hot, being constantly bathed in an almost sickly yellow glow. The constant sunshine in Los Angeles, where this hospital is located, is actually one of the main reasons that the film industry moved out there in the first place. Filmmaking requires a lot of light, and in those early days, most film studios used natural sunlight instead of studio lighting. You could describe the lighting and colour scheme in this setting as naturalistic. A deliberate attempt is being made to almost replicate the black and white photography of the silent films Roy acted in. These muted colours help to make the contrast between this world and the imaginary world even more stark. When we first meet Roy, he is not in the sunshine, but is instead stuck inside a gloomy hospital ward. Unlike Alexandria, he cannot go out and explore, and this dark, shadowy lighting tells us about his unhappiness and his feeling of being trapped. Alexandria, on the other hand, is a happy, free-spirited girl, and so we mainly see her in direct light. They are wearing simple hospital clothes here, but in the fantasy world, the costumes are bright, colourful, and, in some cases, truly bizarre. Roy becomes a masked bandit. His mask hides his true identity. This could represent that he is hiding something from Alexandria, that he wants her to help him end his life. Alexandria looks up to him, and his story becomes their shared story, so her costume mirrors his. And then when we see the finished film that Roy was working on, we discover that the actor he was doubling for was also wearing a mask. The group of mythical heroes who accompany Roy's character on his journey are wearing some spectacular costumes. English naturalist Charles Darwin looks like one of the butterflies or exotic flora that he collects for his studies. The bowler hat reminds us that he is British. Luigi is wearing a yellow and red costume. His yellow coat has flames on the back, reminding us that he is an explosive expert with a fiery personality. and his red hat suggests that he is Russian, or at least of Russian extraction. The Indian wears traditional Indian clothing, but with very vivid colours that give him a majestic appearance, almost like he is royalty. Otabenga, the ex-slave, doesn't wear many clothes, but he does have an amazing horned headpiece, which also gives a majestic appearance, and evokes mythological heroes such as Ozymandias or Alexander the Great. Sister Evelyn, Alexandria's favourite nurse in the hospital, becomes the masked bandit's true love. Her costumes are spectacular, with an Asian styling and vivid colouring which again reflects how Alexandria pictures a mythical princess. She also hides herself with veils, a bit like Roy with his mask, which again suggests that there is some truth being withheld. Governor Odious, the focus of their collective revenge, is dressed like someone from The Great Gatsby. He is smug and privileged, and we all want to see the masked bandit get his revenge. Again, this clash of costume styles reminds us that we're watching the fantastical imaginings of a young girl. The frightening soldiers of Governor Odious are wearing very similar costumes to the X-ray technician in the hospital, somebody that Alexandra is very frightened by. Ultimately, The Fall is a film about the importance of storytelling. Stories provide us with an escape from our own difficult lives. The final montage of stunt sequences, some of which feature Roy, are a tribute to the power of cinema on the imagination and to the people who risked their lives to make ours better. Thank you for watching this short essay about The Fall. I hope that this has helped with your understanding of this amazing film. I would love to hear what you think, or whether you agree or disagree with my analysis. Please let me know in the comments below.
Thank you.